Hello, my name is Darren, and we are members of something called the International Business Structuring Association, or IBSA. Essentially, it's a network of professionals that serve clients, private clients, so families that are exposed to multiple jurisdictions and they're running businesses, entrepreneurs. So it's not just restricted to tax, even though we're going to talk about tax. It'll be like investment migration, IP lawyers, insolvency, just anything to do with what the family will go through as they cross borders. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to the panel. Jose, you're going to start from your side and introduce yourself.
Thanks everyone to join this, and thanks Darren and Skipper 80 also for our participation. I'm a tax partner in Squire Patton Boggs, based in the Madrid office. I do international tax, even though I could sound partly American. It's my mom's American, my dad's Spanish, and I'm actually probably the only one not talking about U.S. taxes here, but some of the additions around that, which is always great to hear. Everyone living outside of the UAE, like myself, is excited to come to a place where Texas is a friendly environment for Texas. So you got to stay away of our tax network around how the trends, the difficulties around kind of keeping the taxes low, and especially with the U.S. citizens. So happy to be here and try to contribute to this discussion.
My name is Jimmy Sexton. I'm the founder and CEO of Esquire Group. We provide international tax and wealth planning services to affluent multinational families and help them minimize their taxes and pass their wealth to the next generation in a tax efficient, organized manner.
My name is Vince Trong. I'm based here in Gate West with a company called GSB Capital. I'm from California. I'm an American CFP, so I do financial planning, financial modeling, asset management for clients, and I've been here 16 years now.
Let's stay with Europe. It's not a negative story. There are special tax regimes in parts of Europe. Do you want to comment briefly on those?
Best to comment on examples. For example, it's easy to come to Dubai in a way that tax is zero for successful entrepreneurs, solo company, right? But for example, I had a clear example, a 60-year-old UK national set up his own company, and this is an interesting story. He's got 25 million pounds sitting in his own company, right? And he says, well, it's time for me to slow down. I'm still active. I want to do that, right? How do I get the money out, right? If he continues to be UK tax resident, you distribute those dividends, he would trigger a 38 point something tax on the dividends, right? I was thinking, okay, where can I go to become tax resident under a special regime and have, in a way, benefits of UK applies a 0% withholding tax on outbound dividends, right? You pay it when you're tax resident, but when you're not, it's not. So he moves to Spain, and you become, there's Spain, Italy, Portugal is not as attractive anymore, but we have Malta, you have Latvia, you have other special tax regimes that allow you temporarily to have less taxes. What you might have heard, there was a time in my tax life that I never liked to call it, we had something called the special Beckham law in Spain, which is not called Beckham law, but it was approved when Beckham was coming from Manchester United to Real Madrid, and then it stick the name Beckham law. So now I'm forced to kind of use it because everyone's talking to me about it, but it's not called like that, right? It's willing to attract, and again, that's the point where I think the Spanish regime is somehow and will remain successful, because it is not for attracting high net worth individuals. Nothing against it, but in the world of high taxing, protecting the high net worth individual is not a trend. Let me put it this way, right? But it's easier to put regimes in favor of entrepreneurs, right? That you want that. You want qualified employees, qualified investments. So in Spain, that's why it survived over the UK regime, which was resting on rich people coming to the UK and not paying taxes. In Portugal, it was a lot focused for bringing retirees over to spend their money and living abroad without being taxed. Spain, it has to be linked to an employment or a business purpose, right? Without getting into details, you only tax on Spanish source income. Italy has a similar regime with some caveats on capital gains, but there is ways to put it in a broad sense that you can benefit from advantage tax regimes even in the high taxing world of Europe. So keep in mind, if you ever get tired of the UAE, which so far is, I love coming here, it's a beautiful place to be, but everywhere, if we have potential opportunities to that, there are ways that you can stay out of the crazy 50% taxes on anything you do, which is the higher rate in Europe.